So about once a month or so, here lately it's been further apart than that. It's been a month and a half or so. I pull a couple of days out to work on a personal project. Something that there's going to be no monetary return in doing. Today is one of those days. Today is, what is today? Today is Wednesday. So I'll probably spend the rest of this week on this personal project, and I think y'all gonna like it, or at least I think some of you gonna like it. Sitting behind me is a 1967 Mercury Cougar, sporting its true 70s styling with the fats on the back and the skinnies on the front and cocked up in the rear, the whole 9 yards. Just like they want it. Who is they? Well, that's my mama. My mama is in her 60s now, and she learned how to drive on a 67 Cougar. Now, there's an earlier video about the history of this car, if some of you want to go back and watch it. The basic gist of it is she learned how to drive on a 67 Mercury Cougar, and it got sold. And we can't definitively prove this is the same car, but I spent about 30 years of my life tracking this car down, or at least what I think is this car. So it's been about a 2-year ordeal since I brought this car home. Life happens, things happen. You got to get work done. You got to be able to make a living. So there's been about a 2-year ordeal with this car, and there's probably been about a year where nothing's really been done to this car. So let's take a look at what we have and what we have done. So first off, what has not been done is there's absolutely no body work been done on this car yet. Car was a vinyl top car, so there is some rust right along that edge right there. It's all gonna be cut out and repaired. So that's gotta be taken care of. Well, actually, we haven't done anything to the outside at all. What we have done, we built a brand new motor for it. This is a ground up build. And as you can see, it's not exactly buttoned up yet. So kind of stopped in the middle of this process. The motor's never been fired, never been broken in, never been ran. What's ended up happening is we used stuff we had here to build this motor. Since this is a personal project that there's going to be no monetary return on, this is a very personal project. So we tried to use stuff that we had here. So here's what we ended up with. 302 block, was a 302 Mexican block, or I guess it is 302 Mexican block. I wonder if it came in illegally. Am I entitled to $400,000 for that thing? Anyway, so it's a 302 Mexican block. We had a set of domed pistons here that are 60 overbore, so we used them. We had a good crank here, so we used it. We had a set of hypo heads here that had some work done to them previously. They've been ported. There's some heavy work done to these heads, but we had them here, so we put them on. It's got I don't even know what intake it is. I think it's a Edelbrock. It's an Edelbrock Torquer 2 intake, because we had it here. It's not the combination that you would expect in a car that's going to be street driven, and probably not the absolute perfect combination, to be honest, for street driving, but we had it here. So I think you're seeing the theme here. So we didn't have to invest a whole lot of upfront costs into things. We have converted to electronic ignition in this. So now we're in the process of bringing it back in the shop, and we're going to finish buttoning up the engine install. Actually, the engine only has like 2 bolts bolting into the transmission, and it has the motor mount bolts stuck in, but they don't even have nuts on the back of them or anything yet. It was literally stuck in here, pushed over to the side, and we'll get back to it, you know, and it's taking some time to get through everything to get back to it. So we're gonna carve out the next 3 days with the intentions over the next 3 days of firing this thing up and seeing if we can get it to move. And let's say yard drive. And once we get it where we can yard drive it, then we can start pulling it in and out more often. We can do the body work, we can do paint work, interior work, carpet, dash. We can start making it a car then, and then things will go relatively quickly. So the first thing that's gonna happen on today, and it seems like a step backwards, but it's just me being anal about wanting everything right, is the motor's gotta come back out of this car briefly. And since it's just stuck in there, it won't be much of a big deal. But the motor's got to come back out because the holes on this backing plate don't match up exactly right. They're close enough, really, but it's bothering me. That's bothering me, and the fact that this engine bay has been sprayed with some kind of high gloss black is also bothering me. So the engine's going to come back out today. And the backing plate's gonna get addressed, and this high gloss engine bay is gonna get addressed, because it would have never been a high gloss from Ford. It would have been like a semi-gloss or I don't think it was flat, but it wouldn't have been this. So we're gonna tone it down a little bit with some satin. Paint, and then the motor will go back in with a new backing plate. Everything will become mounted, permanently mounted. Then we'll get the headers mounted on there correctly. They've just got 2 bolts in each side, kind of hold them on as a test fit to see if they will work. We'll get them mounted on correctly, and then we can move on to things such as getting a cooling system put in, belts, hoses, all that stuff. We want this motor fully dressed out so that when it comes time to fire it up, we can fire it up and go through a break-in procedure, because this is actually a flat tappet cam. So we do need to run a break-in procedure through that. So we want to go ahead and have all of our ducks in a row so that when we fire it up, it can just run. So that's what's next on the agenda. So we go. It's still not completely dry. It will dull down, and the light hitting it at a weird angle makes it look shinier than it is, but it is a satin black. Little 302. This was a factory 289 car. Honestly, 302, nobody's gonna really know the difference. But as I told you before, we've got some good parts in this engine, and it's gonna make more power than the car really needs and will ever actually be used. But you know, for what we had in it, it's mostly all free parts, and we'll see what happens. So now, sun glare back there is gonna kill it, but I've got the engine bay painted the correct shade of black. Maybe you can see it. Now that I've got that done, I've got the correct backing plate on the engine. Engine can go back in. So that's the next step. Okay, so the motor's back in the Cougar now. Engine bay is corrected. The backing plate behind the motor is corrected. And we're ready to move forward now. We'll get on Summit tonight and order a good high torque starter. It's got to have it. And a couple of little things that we need, and we'll be back on it tomorrow. Honestly, I'm whooped today. It's just been a long day, a lot of stuff going on, and I am just beat down. So I probably won't do a whole lot more to it tonight. This is going to be a short little video. I won't do a whole lot more. I was going to put the carburetor and stuff back on and get all that buttoned up. I'm not even gonna do that. I'm just not feeling it tonight. Um, but motor, transmission, the whole drivetrain is in the car. It's all buttoned up, and I'll get the starter ordered this evening. Hopefully, something that's usually really quick. It may even be here tomorrow. If not tomorrow, I'll button up everything else. I'll try to go ahead and get the pulleys done, the cooling system buttoned up. Like I said, I'm just gonna go ahead and button everything up, then fire the motor up and run it. And if there's an issue, there's an issue. But still need to go through the brakes. There's a lot that needs to be done, and well, we pretty much hadn't done any of it. So stay tuned. All right, guys. So, like I said, the Cougar build, I'm gonna take the next 2 or 3 days and try to get this thing knocked out. It should go fairly well, but we all know how plans go. And now I'm gonna go order some parts, but y'all follow along. Y'all stay with it, because it's gonna be a cool little build, and it's been coming for a long time. So y'all stay tuned.